I'm Ellie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my December wrap up for you guys, but the problem is I read 21 things in December, which has been like the best month for me all year. But I can't tell you about half the things that I read because of a video that's going to be coming out later this month, and then you guys will get to see the wrap up of those items. But I didn't really want to give them away. If you see my Play With Me video, you may have seen a glimpse of some of the videos that are going up, and it is in there. But for now, I'm just going to focus on everything else, which is still equivalent to 1, 2, 3, 14 things. So still like the best wrap up of the year. You gotta end/start strong, I guess, right? Yeah, or know the stats because everything's kind of a little jumbled here. I have 2 audiobooks to tell you guys about. I have 6 graphic novels. I have 1 middle grade, maybe 2 adult, and 2 YA. Check the stats because you girl obviously don't know what she's talking about. As always, I'm going to leave timestamps down below so you guys can jump around to whatever it is that you want reviews about. And I will also have the titles of the books listed down below so you guys can kind of figure out what all is going to be mentioned here today. So let's go ahead and let's get into this. So one of the things that I ended up reading for Cramathon, which if you guys don't know, Cramathon is a readathon that I host with Dylan is reviewing, Julia Sapphire, and JG over at the Awkward Bookworm. So I was pretty excited to participate in it. I ended up reading 7 books, but I didn't complete the challenges. If that makes any sense, I just ended up reading 7 things that I wanted to read. But one of the things that I ended up reading for the Person of Color challenge was Binti. And if you guys don't know, this is like a 2-hour audiobook. That 2 hours was like the longest 2 hours of my life. It literally took me 4 days to read this. 2-hour audiobook took me 4 days. This, I honestly don't really know how to tell you guys about. This is sci-fi. Okay, let's start with that. This is a sci-fi and it follows our main character. She is from like a tribe and basically no one has ever gone to space, but she really wants to go to space, so she goes against her family wishes and decides that she's going to space to go to like this prestigious university. That's where she's going to study. She's really good with like electrical currents or something. It's like the different type of magic that they wield, but it's like through currents and stuff, and she's kind of like an engineer. What happens is basically she gets on this ship. I feel like I'm telling you the whole thing because the synopsis is literally just as long as the book is. But she gets on the ship and these like alien species comes and attacks their ship, but she can somehow communicate with them and they don't really know how and what's going on and what's going to happen when she gets to the university. Honestly, I don't think this book does very well in the format that it is in. I don't think written format is the best. It feels more like an outline as a written book than it does an actual book. There's just so much going on and just not enough explaining of things. I was so lost. I was re-listening to parts because I was just like, I don't really know where this came from. I don't know what's happening. Like, it feels like I'm reading a short story inside of a world that I should already know about. So maybe that's on my part. I have a hard time getting into sci-fi to begin with, and this just didn't help me out at all. I think if this was a graphic novel, I would have really enjoyed it. Just because the way that they explain the things that are happening, I couldn't picture them in my mind, so I feel like a graphic novel would have been a better way to tell this story. I definitely seem like I'm in the unpopular opinion of this, so I ended up giving this 2 stars, and honestly I feel like I'm probably being a little generous there. The audiobook was good. I really liked the narrator. She was fantastic, so it was just the story just lost me a lot. Then the other one that I listened to was a Blackbird season, and I kind of just picked this out on a whim. This is a small town drama, and for some reason I'm realizing that these are some of my favorite books to read. It is a small town mystery. It's about a possible student-teacher relationship going on. The girl has gone missing, and so they're on the hunt. They're like blaming him. No one knows what to believe. You get all this conflicting information. For some reason, I just love these stories. I don't know what it is about it. I know that they are so mundane. I live in a small town, so I know what it's like to have all the small town drama, and it is very much like this. We have had all kinds of scandals, so I don't know if it's just because I can relate. Like, I know that these things happen, and I can see these things happening and how all this stuff gets mixed up. So I ended up really enjoying this. Basically, it's only called Blackbird season because all the blackbirds like fall out of the sky one day, but honestly, I didn't think that was important to the storyline. like at all. So the rest of it is way more interesting, that part. They never do really explain, I think, why the birds all fell out from the sky that day. Like, it just happened to be the day that she goes missing. It just gives it like this eerie presence. But overall, it was more about the drama that's happening, and you get to find out what has really happened, where has she gone, what in her life has made her do this, like things like that. So I ended up really loving this, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I feel like I'm not explaining it to give it justice, but I don't know how else to explain it. Okay, what we got next? The graphic novels. So I read a lot of really fantastic new graphic novels to me this month. There was one series that I had started, and I ended up reading 3 of them. I have the second and the third one here, and that is The Girl from the Other Side. This is actually a manga series. This is about this world where good and evil has kind of been divided. The good, which are like normal people, live in this walled-in society, and on the outside are the evil people, and they are like these creatures that you see here. But there is a young girl, she has been stuck out on the outside, and this creature named Teacher is taking care of her, and he's fending off the other creatures from touching her, because basically if any of these beings touch her, she will become cursed, and she will also turn the same way. I will say that the art in this it's black and white, but at times it's kind of hard to follow. Like, all the details are just really sketchy sometimes. That makes it a little hard to follow, plus I've reached by the third one here. I don't think the story is really going anywhere. I've really enjoyed it, and they're really quick reads, but they've just reached a point where I'm like, okay, I need something new to happen here. Like, it's the same thing that just keeps happening over and over again. I also read The Hidden Witch, which is a sequel to The Witch Boy. If you guys don't know, I absolutely loved The Witch Boy. It is about this family, but all the boys have to be shapeshifters and all the girls have to be witches, and there's no, like, you can't be other, and basically this boy believes that he's a witch, and his family is really against it. They're like, no, you're not, you have to be a shapeshifter. So out of nowhere, this like demon starts like taking people from the family, and so it's basically up to him to find out what's going on and how to stop it, and if he's gonna get to use his witch powers or not. But the second one is great because it follows him and a friend that he has made in the first one, and it follows a new witch that has come into town who doesn't realize really that she's a witch. Like, she sort of knows, but she's never been trained. So this is them kind of helping her, and it was so freaking cute. I loved it. Again, 5 out of 5 stars. It's one of my new favorites. I'm definitely going to be looking out for it. The art in it is fantastic. Like, it's such a cute middle grade about like acceptance and just loving being who you are inside. So it was really interesting, really cute, really quick read. So I also read Skyward Volume 1, and this takes place in a world where gravity is missing. And this follows a girl. Her father has not stepped out of their house since. She's a delivery girl, and she basically wants to help her dad out. So she goes in search of someone who he used to know a long time ago. And it is revealed that her father knows more about the gravity situation than he has ever let on, and also that he might be able to fix it, and some people don't want that to happen. This was really interesting, really fast-paced, really nice. Our main character is black. There's also a boy in this that is paralyzed from the waist down. So definitely check it out. It's such an interesting concept as well. I thought it was going to be like a superhero thing, but it's not, so I'm not big on the superhero thing, but it was really good, one of my new faves, so I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And then another new fave was Narroway. I believe I'm pronouncing this right, and this is the Black Bull of Norway, and this is about a girl who basically has been prophesied that she is going to be the wife of the Black Bull. The Black Bull he used to be like a, what is that? Like a warrior type thing for a king a long time ago, and basically the king became afraid of him and had him turned into like a black bull. Follows her as she meets the Black Bull, and then as they travel to complete his quest to become human again, and apparently she is like important to this. And the whole time it's kind of funny because he is a bull, and that's like basically he's like, I don't feel things, I'm a bull. Like, I don't care that you're here. And she's like, what the heck am I doing here? but you get to see all kinds of interesting other people and the story behind the bull and his family. There's much more to it than just the fact that like he was a scary warrior at some point. So it was really interesting, and the art was beautiful. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I needed the next one like right then and there. It sounds a little weird. It sounds a little bestiality going on, but I swear it's not, okay? I swear. Read The Trials of, not The Trials, I keep calling it that, but it's actually just The Hidden Oracle. Oh my god, let's try this again. I read The Hidden Oracle, which is the first in the Trials of Apollo series by Rick Riordan. Apollo, he has been struck down. He is human now. Zeus has been like, you know, there was a war that happened and it's all your fault, so you're gonna be human and you're gonna have to do some things to become a god again. So this follows Apollo kind of trying to make it as a human. He thinks that we are just insufferable and the things that we go through are terrible and he hates it. But he has to go to Camp Half-Blood to figure out what it is that he needs to do, and he meets like this little rugrat of a character along the way, and they are unlikely friends. But this was so much fun. I really enjoyed this. I will say, I didn't realize that there was like an order to these books, so I spoiled myself for the whole, what's that other series before this? Oh, The Heroes of Olympus. I spoiled myself for the whole Heroes of Olympus series, so no big deal. I did not know that going into this, so I'll still probably read it someday because these are just so much fun. I just flew through this. It's so captivating. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely plan on continuing. Just in Rick Riordan's mythology world. I learned so much. I was like Googling stuff. I was like, damn, I didn't know this stuff. I'm learning some stuff today. So I got real into a little bit of Greek mythology and Rome mythology after reading this, because I think this focuses more on the Roman history than anything. Then I have 3 adult books, one of which was Fox 8. This is kind of a novella, and this is by, George Saunders, who, no, that doesn't sound right. This is by the same author who did Lincoln and the Bardo, which is one of my favorite books of all time. His writing is just so different and so unique, and this was no exception. This is from the point of view of Fox number 8. That is, his name is Fox 8. And this is him. He's kind of like telling us about his life. I will say it took me a hard time to kind of get into this because it is written like the fox wrote it. So everything is misspelled, but once you get the hang of it, like your brain just automatically connects the words. He is describing how his life is and how great things are, and one day they discover that a mall is going up, and he's like, I don't know what a mall is, but let's go find out. So he goes, and he's like, man, the humans are great and all, and then something happens. His home is destroyed, the humans are not so kind, and he learns some lessons in life, and he goes from being a cheerful fox to a not so cheerful fox. It was a really great story about like how we treat animals and their environment, and how we just assume that everything is ours, and that, you know, we aren't evil till we make ourselves evil. So it was a really great story. It was really quick. I enjoyed it. Was it groundbreaking? No. Was it entertaining? Yeah. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I also read The Deal of a Lifetime, which I also read for Cramathon. This is kind of a Christmassy book. It takes place around Christmas. But this is about a man who is dying of cancer, and it is about how he befriends like this little girl across the hall who is also dying of cancer, and they are both afraid of the woman in the gray sweater who is deaf, and she walks the halls at night. He's writing a letter to his son, and it's basically about how much it costs to save a life, like what it means to trade your life for another, and things like that. Even his shortest books are so impactful. It makes you really think about things in life, and I really like this interpretation of death. And basically it's just this woman doing her job, but and what it means to kind of save a life, you know, give a life, save a life, things like that. So this was really interesting. I would highly recommend just picking it up for a quick read. Give yourself like one of them just like moments where you stand off into space, like thinking about life and how things are. And yeah. But I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars too. I didn't think it was nearly as good as and every morning on the way home gets longer and longer. It wasn't nearly as good as that, but it was still pretty good. After You, which is the second in the series of Me Before You, I really enjoyed Me Before You, and I know people are gonna be like, you know, there's some controversy there, but I think that's kind of the whole point of the book. Just my thought on it, just because this isn't something, I don't know, I can't like spoil me before you for you. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you don't. There's a movie. If you're really interested, the movie's pretty good. But it's basically about this woman who goes and she is going to take care of this quadriplegic. She has never done this before. She's never been a caretaker, but she really needs a job. It's a really good job. And they have just gone through so many because he is so moody. He is just grumpy AF all the time. So this is kind of how they become like unlikely friends, lovers, you know. Louise is just such a interesting character. She is like basically me, I guess. She's like quirky, but she's kind of just like doing her thing in life and just kind of breezing through, not really doing much. She has never like left her hometown. She's not used to trying new things. So she's kind of just stuck in life. And I think that's one of the things that Jojo Moyes really does really well, is describe what it's like to be stuck in life. And Louise does it a lot. After You, I keep getting them all confused because there's 3 in the thing and they all just sound the same. But After You is no different. It's basically following the events after Me Before You, which even in this world, it is controversy, like what has happened and what has occurred and, you know, how she has been involved in this. So this follows her kind of after the fact, dealing with that, kind of moving on with her life, and how she's just very much stuck. She has like a dead-end job, she doesn't really have any friends, and then all of a sudden, this young girl shows up to her house and is basically like, I'm Will's daughter. She's like, what? There's just something about the writing that I really like. And I can't really pinpoint what it is because it's literally the most mundane things. Like nothing really exciting is happening. I don't care what happens to this kid. But for some reason, I just really liked it. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. So there's just something. Jojo Moyes has like magic in her writing that keeps me hooked, even though it's like boring stuff. I don't get it. Alright y'all, now we into the young adult. I ended up enjoying both things that I read. One of which was And the Ocean Is Our Sky. I actually had picked up an arc of this at BookNet Fest and just didn't get around to it. And then the final copy came out, which was even better because it has the finished illustrations in it. This is a Moby Dick retelling, and I thought this was so interesting because it is from the point of view of a whale, hence why the ocean is their sky. I will say I did not realize this was from the point of view of a whale for like 15 pages, and your girl was thrown for a loop. I was like, what the heck is happening? This is about a group of hunting whales that are going on the hunt for the legend Toby Wick, the human. So they're on a hunt. They come across this boat that has been like just smashed, and they end up finding a survivor among the boat, and they take him as prisoner. And there is like some magical elements in this, so they take the human as prisoner and they communicate with him. But it's about this war between the humans and the whales, and it's about how like if you give your fear like a face, what will happen, and if you really believe in a myth so much, like it can become reality and things like that. And I just thought this was such an interesting retelling. I've seen really not so great things about this, but I personally really enjoyed it. I liked the writing, I liked the concept, it was all very unique, it was entertaining, I just was hooked. Not pun intended, but I just thought it was really interesting. So I don't know why people seem to not like this. I ended up giving this 4.5 out of 5 stars. Like I really enjoyed it. I liked the art in it, so I don't know if we all read a different story or something, because everyone else is rating it real low and I really liked it. And then the last thing that I have to tell you guys about, again, I feel like this also might be an unpopular opinion because I've been seeing a lot of hate around this as well, is Girls of Paper and Fire. I don't know where my copy is at. Are any of us surprised? But I was hooked immediately. I thought this was extremely fast paced. There are trigger warnings immediately for sexual assault, rape, things like that, violence. I will say this did not sugarcoat like anything. When they really say trigger warning, they really mean trigger warning. Like it was pretty intense. And I gotta say, I kind of like the fact that for once a book did not skirt over the details, because I don't know, sometimes I find it a bit annoying. I'm not Not like a yes, I need some torture in this, but it was just a little more realistic for me. I could feel the pain that they were feeling, things like that. I think that the arguments that I've seen around this book they are valid. I've seen some things saying that like our main character kind of like victim shames some of the other people that are in this book. Overall, I don't know, like I can see where she was coming from in some of the instances. Maybe I should tell you guys a little bit about the book first. Wouldn't that be helpful? Demons, and then like the half demons, and I forget what they're called. And then there are the paper casts, which are basically humans. She is a human, but she has this unique thing where she has golden eyes. And basically, she has been taken because someone believes that she would make a great paper girl. Now, these paper girls are basically sex slaves for the Demon King. I will say the biggest thing that put me off was that it seemed a little bestiality, because the demons are basically animal forms. They are just like straight animals. They were trying to say that like these animals like were just merged in with human features, but I just kept picturing like Zootopia animals, so it didn't really work for me. I would love to see a picture of what the author had in mind. But anyway, she goes and she has to take lessons with I think it's like 8 other girls or so, 7 other girls or something like that. So they're taking lessons to learn how to not only become paper girls, but also to exist in the king's society, because after their year is up, they go to live in the kingdom. Yeah, it is brutal. It does not skip out on any details. There of course are other things going on, like there are the rebels who are going against the king. They are trying to kill the king, so things like that. My biggest disappointment was like the weird bestiality thing, and then the other thing was that I kind of wish this would have been a standalone. As much as I enjoyed it, this world is exhausting, and I don't know if I could read a series about this world. And it's not just like, because this first one is a little more mundane because you're following them through their school and their classes and stuff, but there's a lot going on. There's the rebels and things like that. That and the main event was pushed so far back. Like, you would get teased about it and then be pushed back. Teased about it and then be pushed back. Teased about it and pushed back. And that happened for literally every like main event. The main events were teased all the way throughout the book and then didn't happen until like the last few pages. And then the cliffhanger that it ends on, I was like, I don't want it. I don't want it. I want something else. I don't want this. So those were probably my biggest disappointments, but overall I really enjoyed it. I loved the characters. They were a little morally gray at times, so I really liked that. I liked the history of the world. I liked hearing about how things worked. So overall I ended up giving it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So I was not disappointed. I know the rest of you were, but your girl enjoyed it, so I don't know. It was a fresh take, in my opinion. That might come off kind of weird. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. So those were some of the books that I read in December. I hope that you guys have liked this video. Don't forget to subscribe to see future wrap-ups from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!